so that I have double up or backup for this. Hello, Sigurd de Cast here. Sticky Big Marketing is my business, and today's live is all about telling you what's stopping you from writing your book and how can you overcome that. What's a good way of overcoming that is what we want to talk about today. So let me get started. A little bit more about who I am. I'm a book writing, publishing, and marketing specialist, particularly for established coaches, consultants, and people with a proven expertise. I help them raise their profile, position their expertise with your very own authority book. People who get my help experience a fast, effective, and smooth start to finish proven framework from planning your book, writing your book, through the publishing process and marketing or the launch of it and how to use it, how to promote yourself. And we do that in the least time-consuming way without compromising any quality of your content, of your book, of getting your book out there to be a good book. So let's come to the actual topic that I have in mind today. And do bear with me today. I'm not quite sure right now if and where there are actually any questions here from anybody. So I'm going to treat this as just a presentation, giving you the overview here of the getting started with your book. And if there's any questions, I will answer them later while I'm still getting used to using LinkedIn Live. So what's stopping you from writing your book? Now, in this particular video, I'm going to share the 3 most common reasons why people don't get started, and if that is you, what you can do about it. And the way that I know these 3 most common reasons is from clients that I have worked with. Now, I've done the marketing agency Sticky Big Marketing since 2010, and I've always had people come through my agency with a book that they wanted help with to market once they had finished it, and nothing was working for them. They couldn't get it to the reader. So since 2014 in particular, I have worked out and developed my own framework around writing, publishing, and marketing their book. So I've combined all 3 phases of that. And the 3 most common areas that people, or most common hurdles that people have with not getting started with their book. Number 1, it's a huge fear of writing. It's the fear that it takes a lot of time. I will write my book when I have more time, when I have finished this project, when I have done that, when there is less to do in my business, then I'll start my book. Now, the reason when somebody comes to me and talks to me about that and says, that's my reason why I haven't started it, I think it takes too much time. The reason, as I unlayer and dig deeper with the person, what that actually means to them is always, it's not the time. We all have the same amount of time in a day. We all know exactly there's 24 hours. There's so many hours we can choose to do our business, so many hours for leisure and hobby, and so many hours for sleeping. So time is not the issue. The issue with these people is fear of failure. It always turns out that they are afraid to actually really think about the book. It's more like a dream. It's something they'd love to do. One day I will do it. And it sort of sits in the background for people because they think, I am a professional. I am an expert. I have clients. I do not want people to talk bad about me or my book. I want to make sure it's going to be right. So they wait and use the excuse, I don't have time. Writing your book does not take any more time than what you already are spending in your business. The second issue, or the second reason people give for not getting started with their book, is that these people tell me that they don't really know how or where to start. So some people have said to me, they think it's just all too hard, too difficult to get started. Well, what's really the issue behind it? They sort of have, they have an idea, but they think, I have a lot of things to write about. I don't know what to start with. I don't know how to get the first few words on the page. I have so much. Will I put it all in? Will I not put it all into my book? And what happens is it's, you could call it maybe procrastination or overthinking. They just keep thinking and thinking about how and where and what. And what am I going to put in the book? Will I have too much? Is it going to be too big? Should I write a series of books? So all these thoughts seem to be coming up with people who think that they have too much to write about. But again, when I unlayer that, when I have unlayered that with clients in the past, and we really dig to the core issue, it is, again, the fear of failure. Once I get started and I start writing, I'm opening myself up to people being able to read about me, my story, about my method, my work, how I help clients. I might put some examples in there. All of that is a fear around, is this really good enough? Am I really putting something out there that others will value? And the fear of failure, this doubt about their own, abilities creeps up, even though they're very experienced, established people in most cases. And this fear is there in the background. And the third most common part that people, or reason that people give when they don't get started, when they feel like they're just not getting started with their book, is that they have a lack of knowledge of that entire writing process, what goes into it. There are people that have come to me for help, and they have bought a bunch of different book writing courses. They've attended loads of webinars. They jump on every freebie that's available. They download free PDFs to learn about this part and that part and so on. But they feel they just can't get the hang of it. And again, when I talk with somebody like that, they want to get to know the process before they get started with writing. Well, to some extent, of course, we all want to know where we are going to some extent. And we want to perhaps get an idea of, how long will it take me if I know what this is all about and how it works. I might get there. But again, the real crux of the matter comes down to the fear of failure, this self-doubt behind that facade of an otherwise very capable, knowledgeable, and credible business person. There seems to be a real connection between creating your own self-doubt and having this fear of failure around writing a book. Now, I could talk for hours on the whole scenario of where being able to write a book comes from, how it started off with being able to be published in the first place. That's not what this topic of this video is about. We're talking here in this particular video about the three most common named reasons why people don't get started. And if that is you, let me tell you what you can do about it. How do you overcome this fear of failure? You are overcoming it every single day in your business. So when you think about it, you have various methods and ways. When it comes to writing your book that you have in mind to write, the very first thing is for you to decide exactly what you want to achieve by having a book, and write down these questions to yourself and answer them in detail. So I'm going to give you 3 questions that I'm sharing with you to really answer for yourself in as much detail. Take your time and answer these questions. They will put you on the path to getting started with your book. The first question you want to ask yourself is, what do you want to achieve by having a book? The number 2 question is, what is the ultimate outcome that you seek? And number 3 is, what do you want your book to do for you? Now, you might on first approach think they all are similar or the same question, but when you look closer, let me give them to you again, the 3 questions. What do you want to achieve by having a book? What is the ultimate outcome you seek? And what do you want your book to do for you? Now, those are the very first questions I ask every one of my clients. And the answers to these questions let you see and set a very clear goal. And as you know from being in business and being successful in your business, that when you have a goal, once it is clear to you, you can achieve that goal. Having a goal almost gives you this automated direction that lets you see the opportunities and the path to what you need to do to achieve that goal. It's a sort of an automated built-in thing that we have, that when we set ourselves a clear goal, we can actually achieve them. And you know, whatever other additional components you might like to put around goal setting, that's up to you. But the core issue is setting that goal once you know what you actually want to achieve with your book. Now, let me give you a couple of examples around what an outcome might be, or what you might be seeking your book to do when you are in business. And I just want to be clear, I am speaking here to business owners, to people in business, particularly coaches, consultants that have an expertise and really want to up-level their authority with the book. They want to show they are credible, their method is credible. If that is you, then this is how it works, writing your book. So I have written three books in my time, and I've used those to create that framework that I now offer and work with my clients. So the first book, I wrote that when I wanted to get from the retail businesses and the retail scenario that I was in for a long time, and I wanted to get into consulting. I had a knowledge and an expertise working with my own staff and my own businesses, and always with people in the past. So I was hearing in the community, the business community around me, they all had issues with staff. They couldn't find staff, they couldn't keep staff. It was just all too hard. Staff wouldn't take their instructions, and so on. I brought it down to a core element, what they were missing, and I wrote my book about it. And this particular book was the outcome for me to be achieved with this book was to set me up as a consultant around knowing about how to find and keep great staff, how to motivate them, and how to keep them loyal and do the work you want them to do. That was the outcome to get me into that area. So that is one outcome you might have to get into a particular setup or scenario, another step, another level of your business. So you have a clear idea what you're going to write that book for. That is the goal. With knowing that the outcome is to get you in a particular area, then it is really easy to come up with, who am I writing it for? What is the topic going to be? What's the title for that topic going to be to match the people I'm writing for? And that in itself gives you the entire outline of your book. Now, my second book, I wrote that to build or increase the business that I had started, Sticky Beak Marketing. And the people around me were always saying, marketing is such a secret. I have no idea what goes into marketing. I wish I could crack that secret. So with that, wanting to build my business, I knew that the book helping me to build my business, Sticky Big Marketing Agency, I would need to write about what these people were looking for, these businesses around me. They were looking for cracking that secret. So I named the book, the title, The Secret of Marketing a Business Like Yours. Very specific, your business, a business like yours. So that gives me also the clear indication what needs to go into the book. Nothing more, nothing less than what these people were looking for. To explain what's the secret. Well, there is no secret. It's really to need to look at your own business and work out what's right for you. And the steps in there are very clear to help a business do exactly that. So the writing did not take very long. My first book took 8 months. The second one was only about, I think it took about 6 weeks for that second one, if I remember right. The third one, the Build a Book to Build a Business, I did that in 1 week. So my framework now is reflected from those experiences. But let me tell you, the outcomes in mind, I use that term a lot, and it might not always be clear to people, to you, it might not be clear. What I have discovered working with people since about 2014, particularly around their writing their book, publishing and marketing or launching it afterwards, and then promoting themselves with their book, I have discovered 4 distinct versions of outcomes that people are seeking. Now, there are some other ones, or you may be wording an outcome in a different way, but it will fit probably into one of those 4 areas that I have discovered working with people. So let me quickly share those 4 outcomes in mind with you that most people that I have worked with come up with as an outcome that they want to achieve, or something they want their book to do for them. So there is the authority status, the expertise validation, and getting that credibility out there. So writing a book in that sort of a way brings you into keeping your book on a particular type of content that goes into, and a particular type of call to action for a book that you want to use as your authority status. It is a broader description of your expertise inside the book, and it talks a bit about yourself. You could even use this as leaving your legacy that falls into this area or this category of outcome in mind, authority status, expertise, validation. Number 2 that I've found in the 4 is that you want to bring clients to you. Now, this particular book talks about that in detail. How do you get leads from your book? What goes into that? Again, that's a very different, or a different approach to how you write, what you write about, the type of chapters you have, and the call to action in your book. So bringing clients to you, using your book as a lead generation book, is a different type of content that goes into your book. And number 3 is to get your foot in the door with something, like I did with my first one. So you want to go into a new area, perhaps a new division of your business, a new direction. You already are established, you're successful, you've been in business, but now you're moving into a particular specific area. That's, again, you write it, but not only the writing, you also, this is what we do in my program, for example, you also map out your promotion part and the way you're launching your book very differently to a book like this, for example, or a book that is purely about your authority. So the components are variants of the overall outcome you have in mind. And lastly, some people might like to, or think they might like to, write their book with the outcome in mind that the book is going to help them get into the media. They want speaking engagements. They would like to perhaps go onto the paid speaking circuit. Again, that's a bit of a different approach in how you write it and the type of call to action you put in your book. And it's also a different approach to how you're going to actually promote yourself with your book, how you're going to use it. Because when you want your book to do something for you, to achieve an outcome for you, then you need to also use it in the way that that outcome can be achieved with your book. Now, I hope that makes sense. And it's really a matter of going through those questions I gave you earlier to have clarity around that. Those questions will give you the direction, where to start, what the outcome is that you have in mind, and then map out from there, roll back from there, what needs to go into your book and what not. As I said, each outcome requires you to write your book in a slightly different way, and it is important to know what that way is. So you'll get some clarity and you know exactly what you need to write about from those questions when you answer those for yourself. So I leave you today with working on that. Feel free to ask your questions, put them into the post. And if you'd like my help to write your book, simply message me right here on LinkedIn. I apologize for not seeing any questions that might be right here, right now on the live. I'm going to have to work on how that works here on LinkedIn. But that's my message for today. I'll see you again next week, Friday this time, with a new topic to talk about writing a book, writing, publishing, and how to market it. Sigrid Cast, Sticky Beak Marketing.